Imagine waking up one day to find someone plotting to steal the land you've cherished for years, land tied to your family's legacy. That's exactly what happened to me, and what unfolded was a saga of entitlement, deception, and a fight to protect what's rightfully mine. My name is Richard Thompson, and this is the story of how I defended my 3-acre sanctuary in rural Virginia against neighbors who thought they could take it without a fight. For 15 years, I've owned a beautiful 3-acre plot next to my home in Hanover County. It's more than just land, it's where my father taught me to garden as a boy, where we'd spend summers planting tomatoes and talking about life. When he passed, he left me enough money to buy this place, knowing how much it meant to me. The land, with its trickling stream, towering oaks, and open clearing, was a diamond in the rough. I've spent years tending it, dreaming of building a workshop one day. My house sits on half an acre, but this plot? It's my haven. I'm a calm man, 52 years old, and I believe most problems can be solved with a level head and a good conversation. Confrontation isn't my style, friends call me the peacemaker. But 6 months ago, new neighbors, the Wilsons, moved in next door, and my philosophy was put to the test. At first, they seemed harmless. Linda Wilson power walked past my house daily in her pricey athleisure, always in a rush. Her husband, Greg, was glued to his phone, barely nodding hello. I didn't mind their distance. I value my privacy, and I figured they did too. Trouble started one crisp spring morning. I was sipping coffee, strolling my land, and marking spots for raspberry bushes. The air was still, filled with birdsong, when Linda's voice cut through from her deck. She was on the phone, loud and clear. Yes, it's happening. The land next door, 3 acres. We're getting it. I've got a pool designer-lined UPA stone waterfall, cabana, maybe a tennis court. I froze. My land. She went on, laughing. The owner's clueless, letting it sit there. It's a done deal, just waiting on paperwork. My heart pounded. Was she talking about my land? I hoped it was a mix-up, maybe another plot nearby. Determined to clear things up, I walked to her deck, rehearsing a polite but firm clarification. Linda was scrolling her phone when she saw me. Her smile was tight, not reaching her eyes. Good morning, I said. I overheard you talking about buying the land next door. There's a misunderstanding, that's my land. I've owned it for 15 years, and it's not for sale. She blinked, then laughed like I'd told a bad joke. Oh, you must be confused. My husband's been talking to the owner's representative. It's all very professional. I held my ground. I am the owner. There's no representative because I'm not selling. Her smile hardened. Look, my husband's in real estate. He knows how these deals work. You'll be compensated fairly. I was stunned. There is no deal, I said, voice firm. I'm the legal owner, and I'm not selling. Linda sighed, a mix of pity and irritation. My husband handles the details. It's happening. Excuse me, I have calls. She turned and walked inside, dismissing me like I was irrelevant. I went home, confused and angry. Who did these people think they were? I called the county clerk to confirm my ownership, everything was in order, taxes paid, deed secure. I made copies of my documents, sensing trouble ahead. A week passed quietly. I considered talking to Greg but held off, hoping they'd drop their delusion. Then I came home one evening to find wooden stakes with pink ribbons driven into my land, outlining a massive construction zone. My blood boiled. Linda was there, clipboard in hand, talking to a surveyor. I marched over. What's going on? I demanded. The surveyor said he was marking for a preliminary survey. On whose authority? I asked. Linda cut in. We contracted them. It's fine. I snapped. It's not fine. This is my property. You have no right to be here. The surveyor looked uneasy. Ma'am, you said you own this land. Linda waved him off. We're acquiring it. It's practically ours. I pulled out my phone, showing my deed. I'm the legal owner. I haven't agreed to sell. The surveyor paused the job, citing a dispute. Linda fumed, yelling about rescheduling costs. Probably less than trespassing. I shot back. She stormed off, leaving the stakes. I pulled them out myself, wondering what kind of alternate reality they lived in. I hired a property lawyer, David Carter, who confirmed my rights and drafted a cease and desist letter. We sent it via certified mail, demanding all activity on my land stop. For a few days, it was quiet. I thought they'd backed off. I was wrong. One Saturday, I woke to an engine's roar. From my window, I saw an excavator on my land, with Linda in a pickup truck, gesturing wildly. A man was spreading construction plans on the truck's hood. I ran outside, shouting, "Stop! This is private property." The excavator operator cut the engine, confused. Linda rolled her eyes. "Not this again. Ignore him, we have permissions." I held up my phone. "I sent you a cease and desist. I'm the owner. You have no permission." The operator asked Linda, "Is this true? We need permits." She insisted Greg had handled it, but doubt crept into her voice. "There is no paperwork," I said. "I'll call the sheriff if you don't leave." The operator refused to proceed, citing his license. As he drove off, Linda turned on me. "Do you know what you've done? We've paid deposits." I stayed calm. "That's your problem. This is my land, and it's not for sale." She screamed about lawsuits and Greg's connections, then left. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. "This isn't over. The land will be ours." I forwarded it to David, who advised installing security cameras. I did, covering all access points. 2 days later, my cameras caught Greg on my land, taking photos. David sent a stronger cease and desist, warning of criminal trespassing charges. Then came the bombshell. The county notified me that someone Greg and Linda had applied for a building permit, listing themselves as owners. This was no longer just annoying, it was fraud. I filed an objection with the county, providing my deed and tax records. The permit was halted. With David's help, I took action. We filed a police complaint for trespassing and fraud, prepared a civil lawsuit for harassment and emotional distress, and made my ownership undeniable. I hired a fencing company to install a 6-foot cedar fence along the boundary with the Wilsons' property. I added private property and no trespassing signs every few yards. Then, I brought in a landscaping crew to start my long-planned garden-raised beds, fruit trees, and a greenhouse right where their pool was meant to go. The day the fence crew arrived, Greg finally appeared, furious. "You can't put a fence here. We have plans." I pointed to the survey markers I'd had professionally placed. "This is my land. Your plans are irrelevant." He threatened to fight it. I mentioned the lawsuit and police complaint, noting the fraudulent permit. His face fell. "What lawsuit?" he stammered. I listed the charges, adding that Linda's texts were evidence. He paled, muttered about his lawyer, and left. The fence went up, transforming my property into a private oasis. The garden took shape, with berry bushes and climbing roses along the fence. A week later, the Wilsons' lawyer admitted defeat, withdrawing their claim. They agreed to pay my legal fees, the fence cost, and sign a document acknowledging my ownership and banning trespassing. I dropped the lawsuit in return. It turned out Greg had been misled by a shady real estate consultant who claimed underused land could be taken through adverse possession and pressure tactics. The consultant lead me land was maintained, taxes paid, and adverse possession requires years of open use. The Wilsons' scheme backfired spectacularly. They paid for my fence and part of my landscaping, essentially funding my dream garden. Their house is now for sale, and they avoid me, humiliated by their failed land grab. Today, my land is more beautiful than ever. The greenhouse hums with seedlings, the stream sparkles, and the oaks stand tall. Every time I walk my garden, I smile, knowing the Wilsons' arrogance only made my sanctuary better at their expense. I learned that sometimes you have to fight for what's yours, and the law is on your side when you do. What do you think about this story? Have you ever faced someone trying to take what's yours, whether it's property, rights, or respect? How far would you go to protect what matters to you? Share your thoughts in the comments below, especially on dealing with entitlement and injustice. Let's hear your stance.